ਪਤਾ ਮੰਨੇ ਕਿਦਾਂ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਵੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਆ
ਰਿਲੈਕਸ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਖੁੱਲੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਛੱਡਣੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਹਾਂ ਮੂਡ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸੈੱਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਈਟਾਂ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਘੱਟ ਆ ਹਨਾ
ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਪ੍ਰੀ ਸ਼ੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਮਾਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ
Well, I want to get into that too. Happy Vaisakhi to the entire community. Anybody that's watching, of course, but a lot of folks we ran into in Vancouver that are not of the Punjabi community, the Sikh community, but they're still learning about Vaisakhi. They're learning about the cultural aspect, the religious aspect. So welcome to everybody. And this is the pre-show. So let's talk some hockey as well, guys. Munde ਅੱਜ ਮੁਕਾਬਲੇ ਹੋਣੇ Detroit ਅਤੇ Toronto ਦਾ ਤੇ Vancouver ਅਤੇ Edmonton ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ Toronto ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ Austin Matthews is the first name you hear.
Yeah.
His trek to 70 goals. A, does he do it tonight? Detroit's a team that's competitive. They're trying to play in the, get into the playoffs. But is this a team that is a part of history tonight by allowing Austin to score 70?
You're trying to make me the guy to jinx it,
Absolutely.
but I'm say,
yes, I am.
He is doing it tonight. I think he'll get there.
Okay.
The question is, I don't know. There's a lot of debate going on. Should they keep playing him for the remaining games? There's a risk of injury, but get to 70 goals. Is it all about the goals? I think he needs to get to 70. I think he'll get there tonight, but it's a valid question.
He's definitely getting to 70. I don't know about tonight, but he's definitely getting to 70. He's at 68. He wants to be part of history. Right? Only 14 players have done it, so he wants to have his name on that list. So I'm okay with him playing these last couple of games. I have no problem with that.
Okay, so all three of us agree that he should get to 70, but we're not the coach. Sheldon Keefe had an opportunity to put him on the ice with the extra attacker when the opposition had the extra attacker, no goaltender, and he didn't put him out there. But Tyler Bertuzzi was out there. He ended up scoring the empty net goal. You think coaches care at this point?
I didn't agree with that. I mean, come on. He's not a defensive liability type of a player. So why not put him on the ice and let him get an easy empty netter?
Okay. They didn't need to put him out there because he's scoring these goals comfortably. They didn't need him just in that moment. He has a few games left. He'll get it done.
Easy empty netter, though. Why not?
Okay, but remember, Sheldon Keefe is the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's not simply the coach of Austin Matthews. The argument could be made, and I don't agree with this, but the argument could be made, give some other guys some confidence. You know Austin has the confidence. Maybe you share that love a little bit.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got to give your guy a chance to pad those stats a little bit. You know, at the end of the game, it's empty net.
Well, he's had a few empty netters in the last couple of weeks, so he's got a few gimmies there, but he's scoring at an unreal rate, different type of goals. Different line mates. He is definitely the most dominant goal scorer, and he's going to get there.
You can never have too many, though, right? Like another empty netter is great.
Yeah, come on. The player's not going to complain, but it's more about the team kind of chemistry, psychology, all of that. Toronto's got Detroit tonight. We'll see what happens there. But one of the issues and one of the things, we're looking ahead to next week when the playoff matchups will be set. We'll be doing this pre-show and Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi अगले हफ्ते तो सानू पता होना कि केना ने playoff च खेलना केड़े दिनां ते. So my question to you is, Toronto, most likely they're not going to be shifting spots with Tampa Bay. So they're pretty much locked into third spot right now. But that first and second spot in the Atlantic is still up for grabs. If you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, who do you want?
Florida.
And don't start chanting it, Toronto Maple Leafs fans. I'm not asking that.
We want Florida.
No. Let's not do that. But who do you want if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I don't like to agree with this guy too much, but Florida Panthers, I think, are the right match for them just because their speed is something they can use and give Florida trouble with, and fight pound for pound with them. They can outscore.
So you're saying we want Florida.
We want Florida.
Exactly.
Because if we get Boston, we know what history repeats itself, Randeep, and what happens when
they got
face
spanked
Boston.
by Florida last year. What are you talking about?
Hey, you know what? Better chance. In my eyes, it's a better chance against Florida. I wouldn't want Boston.
I don't agree with him usually either, but yes, I said Florida first, so
you're a smart guy.
I'm sticking with Florida, man. And regular season's different, but the Maple Leafs have had a better success against the Florida Panthers this regular season than they have against the Boston Bruins. They haven't beaten them in 4 games, whereas they've beaten Florida twice. So I know it's regular season. It's different, but I would rather play Florida than Boston.
Okay, you guys are agreeing. I'm going to disagree because I think the Florida Panthers in the playoffs play a very different style of game. That forecheck is relentless. If you look at the back end of the Toronto Maple Leafs, ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਖਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦੇ, and that forecheck comes for Toronto. I think the Maple Leafs will have a problem. And remember, it's a different Boston Bruins team, right? No Patrice Bergeron.
X factor there is also Florida's firepower, and Samsonov is going to be heavily dependent on what Samsonov can do.
But Boston has played a really tight game. They've got 2 great goaltenders. I know Bobrovsky's been playing great with Florida, but you've got 2 in Boston, so I don't know. I think it's a tough matchup for Toronto.
All right, we'll see what happens. Hit us up in the comments or tweet at us and message us on what you think. Let's switch over to the West Coast, though, because a great matchup in our second game of the doubleheader, which is Vancouver and, of course, the Edmonton Oilers. This is a battle for top spot in the Pacific Division. Think about that. सोचने वाली गल है कि Edmonton Oilers ਦੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਮੰਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਸੀ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ 'ਚ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੇ ਐਂਡ 'ਚ ਹੁਣ उत्तम स्पॉट ले लड़दे आ big matchup tonight.
Yeah, and I think they're going to come out on top because they just had a tough loss to Arizona, which they should have won. And we saw what they did to Vegas. But we saw what they did to Vegas without McDavid in the lineup. 5-1 victory. So Vancouver's going to watch it. They have to watch out tonight.
This is a huge game. I think whoever wins this game wins the division. That's it. It ends there. They're going to end up winning the division. So it's a 3-point gap right now. Oilers have played one less game. So this is a huge game. The Canucks need this game. Badly. They need this game to stay in that first spot.
Okay, so you mentioned losing to Arizona. They pick up a single point, Edmonton did, but they're playing in the second of a back-to-back without Connor McDavid. That's official. Connor McDavid is not playing tonight. And 2 games, even though their schedule looks soft, they got Arizona again, they got San Jose to end off the season. They got a lot of games in not that many nights. So I think that's a big factor here, guys.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the fact that Vancouver has spanked them every single game. So they're coming back with a bit of a vengeance tonight. I think they're going to take care of business.
Yes, but again, like Jandal was saying, those 3 victories were in the first 3 weeks of the season.
That was like a different season.
It doesn't
First 3 weeks of the
matter.
season.
They lost the game.
But listen,
it doesn't matter if it's in the first few weeks. They want to win the game.
That was with Woodcroft. Ever since Knobloch's come in, they've had the best record in the league since Knobloch's been the coach. So they're a totally different team. I get it. They spanked them those 3 games. Well, 2 out of those 3 games, but this one's going to be a tight one.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll see what happens there. But a couple of things there that I want to look at a little bit more long-term. Connor McDavid not playing tonight. Thatcher Demko not playing tonight. So Casey DeSmith gets the start for Vancouver. And, of course, Connor McDavid, when he's not playing, that's a loss for every hockey fan because you don't get to watch the best player in the game do his thing. Short-term, I understand. But long-term, is this an issue for both teams? Because we've seen them both practice. Is this precautionary or is this a reason to worry for both of these teams?
Listen, I would not play McDavid. I would not play McDavid. Let him rest. We saw what happened when he was hurt in the playoffs in the past. Let him take his time and get healthy, and there's no point of rushing him back here. He needs 1 more assist to get him 100. Play him in the last game, get him to 100. You know he's going to pick up that last assist.
Yeah, I agree. Don't rush him, but at the same time, you know, you want to move up in the standings and try to get that first spot ahead of Vancouver. And the same thing goes
you have to play a tough team anyways.
Same thing goes for Demko, though. I mean, you need some time to get back into that game shape, that game mentality. So if you can give him an extra couple of games, why not? As long as he's healthy.
Mondeo, I'm going to say Vancouver's going to have a very tough first 2 games in the first round because they're going to get a little bit of a wake-up call.
This guy's very pessimistic on the Vancouver Canucks. I got to say, right now, I'm sensing this.
Listen, they've had a great season, way above expectations, but it's easier. When you're already sitting comfortably in first, you're playing a little bit looser. You know, we've seen them the last couple of weeks. These games don't mean as much for them. I think they're going to have a wake-up call.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. Offensively, I understand there's an issue with the Vancouver Canucks. Defensively, they're playing pretty well. They're not giving up that much. And remember, Casey DeSmith had some off games. Archer Shilov's ਉਹ ਨਵਾਂ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਆ NHL 'ਚ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ 8-9 ਗੇਮਾਂ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਸੋ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਦਿਸਣੀ ਆ But I think with Thatcher Demko, the key number is, can you get him in 1 or 2 games?
Yeah.
And he's not playing tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. Can you get him in that home game against the Calgary Flames? And perhaps against the Winnipeg Jets on the road. I don't like that because that means you have to travel them and you're potentially playing him in a meaningless game if you have the division locked up or if Edmonton runs away with it.
But he needs to get some reps in. He has to get some reps in before the playoffs.
Yeah.
And those are 2 tough teams. Calgary's still playing pretty well. We saw them against Anaheim last night. You know, they were up 4-0. They won 6-3, I think. And Winnipeg is a very tough team who is right now, last time I checked the score, 7-0 against the Colorado
That could be a
Avalanche.
first-round matchup, too.
So, exactly. So you want to get him those reps just so he can get, back in game form a little bit because when you're playing catch-up, it is
probably
tough.
is. I think Dallas won today as well, so that probably is going to be the first-round matchup.
Yeah, and Thatcher Demko, here's the thing. If you saw his or heard his media availability with Vancouver media the other day, he's in playoff form. He does not like talking to the media. He was giving minimal answers. ਮੈਂ ਉਧਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਸੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਇਹਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ He's locked in. He doesn't care about any outside noise. Quite frankly, he doesn't like doing media as well, so it's a Badu thing for him. But I think if you're a Canucks fan and you saw that interview, you like it because that means he's ready to go. He's locked in. And ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ one of the things, like that Calgary game is going to be important to me because you need to get that one in. If you go straight into the playoffs without any games, guys, that's a couple of things. Re-aggravation is an issue because ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਗੇਮ 'ਚ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੱਟ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਲੱਗ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਵੀ ਜੰਗਾਲ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ you're rusty, right? You haven't seen pucks in a while.
1.5 ਮਹੀਨਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, right? So March 9 ਨੂੰ I think ਬਾਹਰ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ, so 13 ਗੇਮਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੇਡਿਆ. That's a long time. 13 games is a lot. So yeah, that that Flames game is really important. I think get him in, get him some reps.
Canucks defense, they're going to have to do a good job of clearing the crease out because the playoffs are going to get nitty gritty. It's going to be physical, and that's where the lower body injuries can really hurt the goalie. So they're going to have to do a real good job of clearing the crease.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ Scott Road ਤੇ Matthias Michelli ਦੀਆਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ right now. He scored that overtime goal against Edmonton Oilers, gave the Canucks a little bit of breathing room there, but that can all change tonight as that battle, the second game in our doubleheader, is the battle for the Pacific Division. Yeah, go ahead.
How about the Coyotes? Sorry, this is a total off-topic, random topic.
Playing angry.
Vancouver and Edmonton beat them in overtime when they know they're moving. I mean, extra motivation for the players? Like, what's going on there, man?
Yeah, I think with that, it's... You got to be playing angry, right?
I think so.
If you have all this gussa, as where you've got Vancouver, you beat them in overtime. Sure, you bungle that game a little bit. You're up 3-1. But in the end, and then what happens in that Edmonton game too? Matthias Michelli scores there. So I think there's got to be some anger there.
ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ Morello ਤੇ ਨਾ ਕੱਢਣ ਆਈਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੱਢ ਦੇਣ ਉਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ
ਹਾਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਆ ਨਾਲੇ Morello ਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਟੀਮ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੈ
ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ
ਉਹਦਾ ਬੌਸ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਹੱਲੇ ਬੌਸ ਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੀ
ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗਲਤ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਬਿੱਡ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਬਿੱਡ ਪਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਏਡੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਡੀਲ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਅੱਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਡੀਲ ਬਣੀ ਉਹ ਕਈ ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਆ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਯਾਰ ਖਿਡਾਰੀਆਂ
ਤੇਰੀ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ
ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਡਾਲਣੀ
Okay, but that, the whole idea of that, even coming out with that video to say this is the entertainment complex and this is the real estate complex we have, that was a smokescreen. That was essentially, hey, let's put this out there. And at the same time, maybe that gets us a couple, maybe 100 million, a little bit here. We get a little bit more out of it. You're negotiating. In my opinion, it was a dirty move. I didn't like it. I don't think the players liked it very much as well. ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਕੁਝ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕੁਝ ਸਟਾਫ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਰੀਜ਼ੋਨਾ 'ਚ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖਿਡਾਰੀ ਵੀ ਆ they were shattered, right?
Yeah.
Like this came out of nowhere, but that's the unfortunate side of the business.
So many people involved, staff members, people are working for the team. They don't know what's happening and keeping them in the dark. Yeah, it's
and even other players like Matthews and Nyes, Arizona guys, we're talking about the impact that team has had on them growing up and them wanting to play hockey. So now that's going to be gone.
But it's all about leverage and negotiation. Guess what? There's $1 billion tag on this franchise now.
Yeah. So spoken like a true realtor. Tackett is coming in with that.
Hey, money talks, man. Money talks.
All right. On that note, though, Utah, very interesting market, one of the fastest growing markets in North America. And on top of that, if you look at what they do with the Utah Jazz, 292 consecutive games of sellouts.
Yeah.
This is a team that rebuilt. That fan base in Utah is really, really excited about their sports. So even though, every organization has ebbs and flows, that market has shown that, hey, they'll support a team even when they're not good. If you're the NHL, you're definitely watching that and saying, we want that.
Yeah, and they have a history of hockey. So NHL ਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਦੇ ਰਹੀ ਪਰ ਹੋਰ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਲੀਗਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਟੀਮਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਰਹੀਆਂ ECHL ਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਹੱਲੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਸੋ ਕਾਫੀ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ Salt Lake City, Utah ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ
Olympics ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਖੇਡੇ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ
Olympics ਆ ਵੀ ਦੇ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿ ਚਲੋ ਸੰਖੇਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 1.5 ਮਿੰਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੁੰਡਿਓ
ਠੀਕ ਆ
Mark Stone ਕੀ ਬਾਤ ਜੀ It's a miracle Mark Stone is back He is back he is somehow healthy and listen we want to be serious too because he had a lacerated spleen but if you look at the timing of this it's a little convenient isn't it?
Yeah man so like 3 years in a row. I know the third year or 3 years ago he came back before the playoffs started, but 3 years in a row he's gone out in February-ish and come back in April and played in the playoffs. So it could just be pure luck, bad luck, pure chance, but I don't know, man. There's I feel like there's something
I understand the questions. I don't know if you guys don't know this. I'm not a doctor, by the way, but
we know.
If he was, he'd be our Dr. Nick.
I hear it takes longer to recover from this thing, so that's the chatter that's out there. But hey, it's part of the rules. I don't blame them for anything. If Mark Stone's healthy, good for them. Come back, make a cup run.
They did it last year.
Yeah,
it worked. And Gerp, what's the saying?
I don't know what's to say.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it works for you once, okay. There's a lot of complaints in the NHL that this is against the rules. There's got to be.
It's not against the rules.
No, it's not.
It's not against the rules.
The Vancouver Canucks right now have players on LTIR, including Thatcher Demko. They're at 86 million. Vegas is at 92. It's not that big of a difference.
Majority of the teams are over the cap right now. It's not just Vegas. We just see them doing it a little bit more often, and with a big name guy like Mark Stone.
All right, we got the countdown clock going, and Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi's gonna come up here in about 15 minutes. Thanks for joining our inaugural pre-show. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week.